ready to launch into orbit. Well, not literally. Today, we're diving deep into PharmaNon, an app that claims to revolutionize crop scouting with the power of satellites.
It's amazing how technology is transforming agriculture. This isn't just about cool satellite photos. It's about
Yeah.
giving farmers tools and insights they never thought possible.
I know, right? We've got articles, tech specs, and even user testimonials to explore today. So I guess our mission is to figure out if PharmaNon is the real deal, a fancy gimmick, or somewhere in between. What do you think?
Let's find out.
Okay, so let's start by imagining the old way of doing things. Picture yourself trudging through rows and rows of crops with your trusty notepad, squinting to spot pests or signs of disease. It's time-consuming and, let's be honest, not always the most accurate method.
And you're only getting a very limited view. You miss those larger patterns that become obvious with a bird's-eye perspective, which is where satellite data can really change the game.
Mhm.
And that's what PharmaNon taps into, but it's not just about the pictures.
So tell me more about this. How does PharmaNon actually use satellites to give farmers insights into their fields?
It uses a technology called NDVI, Normalized Difference Vegetation Index. It sounds complicated, but it's actually a really elegant solution.
NDVI, okay, I've got to admit, that sounds a little intimidating. Could you break that down for me? What is NDVI and how does PharmaNon use it?
Basically, NDVI relies on the fact that healthy plants reflect light differently than stressed plants. They absorb and reflect different wavelengths.
So by analyzing those variations in light reflection, PharmaNon can assess the health of crops across an entire field, all from space.
Precisely. And what's really impressive is how PharmaNon translates that raw data from NDVI into practical, actionable information for farmers. It's not just about seeing a problem, it's about understanding what to do about it.
Okay, now that sounds incredibly useful. So we've got these NDVI images from space. What kind of information can PharmaNon actually give farmers? What can they see?
Well, for starters, it can identify areas of stress in a field. This could be anything from nutrient deficiencies to irrigation problems, even the early stages of a pest infestation. And because it's monitoring the entire field, farmers can get a comprehensive view of what's happening, which is impossible with traditional scouting.
I imagine that early detection is key. Addressing a potential issue early on could mean the difference between a minor setback and a much larger problem down the road.
Absolutely. Early intervention is crucial in agriculture, and that's a major advantage of using a system like this.
So, from what I'm gathering, PharmaNon seems to offer a much broader and more detailed perspective than traditional scouting methods. Are there any other benefits it brings to the table?
Lots. One of the most significant advantages is the ability to identify issues that might not be visible to the naked eye.
Really? Like what kind of things are we talking about?
Well, for example, PharmaNon can detect subtle variations in plant vigor that could indicate a developing nutrient deficiency, even before those deficiencies become visible as discoloration or stunted growth.
Wow, that's incredible. So it's like having an early warning system for your crops.
You could say that. It gives farmers a chance to address potential issues before they escalate and impact yield.
So are we talking about a high-tech crystal ball for farmers? Can this app actually predict the future?
Well, maybe not the future exactly.
Yeah.
But PharmaNon does utilize predictive modeling based on the data it collects.
Predictive modeling. Okay, so it's not magic, but it kind of sounds like it. Tell me more about how that works.
Essentially, PharmaNon takes all the data it's collected, NDVI readings, weather patterns, soil information, and uses it to create models that can anticipate potential issues or trends.
That's amazing. It seems like a powerful tool for farmers looking to make more informed decisions about their operations.
It really is. And it's not just about looking at pretty pictures from space. It's about providing farmers with the tools they need to manage their crops more effectively, efficiently, and sustainably.
So we've talked about NDVI and satellite imagery, but it seems like PharmaNon offers more than just snapshots from space. The material we have mentions features like field reports, task management, even offline mode. It's sounding like a whole farm management platform. What other features stood out to you when you were looking at the information?
Definitely. The offline mode is huge. I mean, think about it. Many rural areas, especially here in the U.S., don't have access to reliable internet. Being able to continue scouting, inputting data, and then having it sync up when you're back online, that's a game changer.
Especially for those smaller farms or those in more remote areas, it shouldn't be a barrier to entry for using technology that could really benefit them.
Exactly. It levels the playing field a bit. And then there's the task management feature.
Okay, tell me more about that. How does PharmaNon handle something like task management?
Well, it allows farmers to create and assign tasks related to their crop scouting, all within the app. They can set reminders, track progress, and even attach photos or notes to specific tasks.
So it's streamlining the whole process, keeping everything organized and in one central location.
Exactly. And it helps improve communication and coordination within a farming operation, which is crucial, especially as farms get larger and more complex to manage.
And speaking of making things easier, let's talk about those AI-powered recommendations, because that's a feature that really caught my eye. It seems like PharmaNon takes all this data, all these insights, and actually provides personalized recommendations to the farmer.
It does, and that's where things get really interesting. Yeah, this is where things start to feel really futuristic.
So paint me a picture. How does it work in practice?
Okay, so imagine this. You're a farmer, and you get an alert from PharmaNon saying that a section of your cornfield is showing signs of stress.
Uh-oh, that doesn't sound good.
Well, no, not necessarily. But here's the thing. PharmaNon doesn't just tell you there's a problem. It digs deeper. It analyzes the NDVI data, compares it to historical data for your farm, factors in things like weather patterns and soil type, and then provides specific recommendations tailored to that specific situation.
So instead of just seeing a red flag, I'm getting actionable advice on what to do about it.
Precisely. It might suggest adjusting your irrigation schedule, maybe adding a specific type of fertilizer, or even scouting for a particular pest that's common in those conditions. It takes the guesswork out of the equation.
That's got to be a huge time saver for farmers and potentially even more effective than traditional methods.
Absolutely. And it's not just about reacting to problems either. PharmaNon can also help farmers plan for the future.
Okay, now you've got me really intrigued. How does it do that? Tell me more.
One of the features we haven't talked about yet is yield estimation. Based on all the data it collects, NDVI readings, historical trends, weather forecasts, PharmaNon can actually estimate how much yield a farmer can expect from a particular field.
Wait, so it's like looking into a crystal ball for your crops? That sounds almost too good to be true.
It might sound like magic, but it's really the power of data analysis. And from what we're seeing, PharmaNon's estimates are surprisingly accurate.
So with this information, a farmer could make more informed decisions about all sorts of things, right? Like when to harvest, how much to plant, even how to price their crops.
Exactly. It brings a whole new level of data-driven decision-making to farming. But, I can hear our listeners now, and they're probably thinking the same thing. This all sounds incredible, but does it actually work in the real world?
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it? We can talk about fancy features and impressive technology all day long, but where's the proof?
Well, that's where those user testimonials come in. While we don't have detailed case studies or specific names, the anecdotal evidence is pretty compelling. Some users report saving as much as 20% of their time on crop scouting alone.
20%. That's a significant chunk of time, especially during those critical growing seasons when farmers are already stretched thin.
Absolutely. And it's not just about saving time. Other users talk about detecting pest or disease issues earlier than they ever could have before, which gives them a head start on managing the problem.
Which, as we've discussed, can make all the difference in preventing a small issue from becoming a major loss. It seems like the potential benefits here are huge, not just for farmers' bottom lines, but also for the environment.
Right, because if you can use resources like water and fertilizer more efficiently, that's a win-win for everyone. It seems like PharmaNon is already making a tangible difference for some farmers, which is really exciting to see. But what about the future? What's next for this technology? The articles mention things like AI image recognition and even drone integration.
Okay, now we're really getting into futuristic territory. What do those terms even mean in the context of farming? Break it down for me.
So imagine combining PharmaNon's satellite imagery with high-resolution images captured by drones flying over the fields.
Hold on, we're talking about drones equipped with cameras that can identify individual diseased plants from the air.
You got it. We're talking about a level of detail that's impossible to achieve with traditional scouting methods or even satellite imagery alone.
So we're talking about identifying a single plant that's starting to show signs of stress even before it's visible to the human eye.
Exactly. And with that kind of information, farmers could potentially target their treatments with incredible precision. Instead of treating an entire field, they could focus on just the affected plants, minimizing waste and reducing the overall use of chemicals.
Wow, that's incredible. It's like we're talking about personalized medicine, but for plants.
That's a great way to put it. It's about moving from a one-size-fits-all approach to a much more targeted and personalized strategy.
But even with all this incredible tech at our fingertips, aren't there concerns about things like data privacy or even just the cost of adopting these tools, especially for smaller farms?
Those are really important questions and potential challenges that need to be addressed. Data privacy is a huge concern, especially in agriculture, where so much sensitive information is being collected. And yes, affordability is a major factor too. We need to make sure these technologies are accessible to all farmers, not just those with deep pockets.
It's a good reminder that even with all this incredible tech at our fingertips, we always need to think about the bigger picture: accessibility, ethics, and making sure these advancements benefit everyone.
Absolutely. This deep dive into PharmaNon has given us a glimpse into how technology is transforming agriculture, both the exciting possibilities and the challenges that come with it.
It certainly has. For all of you listening, we'll leave you with this to ponder. If you could use technology to see your own backyard garden from space, what hidden patterns or opportunities would you discover? Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time.